Good morning, crypto Twitter, it's Misty Crypto, spreading crypto with doctors showing its benefits to my generation. Shout out to all my people, Gen Z needs to be included, it's really that simple. We are savage, amazed, boss, SD, making money at the same time, spread peace. I feel empty if you don't include Gen Z, about to change the world, so y'all better get ready. Misty Crypto, I'm never backing down, I got a wax account, you should check it out. So many NFTs, I think I lost count, and I'm only getting started. Yeah, I'm barely off the ground. Misty Crypto, you cannot stop me. My hands are made from diamonds, your hands fall like origami. Never be the boss of me. Bitcoin's all I need. When I say I'm zesty, that's just me talking honestly. Crypto and yum bomb marketplace. I wanna see the more we gotta go through cyberspace. Leave this world without a trace. Stay faithful a different day, cause we partners in the cryptos didn't stay.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Miss Teen Crypto Show. I hope everybody is having a lovely Thursday. I am feeling the absolute zestiest today. Like, my zest level is like through the absolute roof. I am feeling like the best energy right now. If you guys are feeling the good vibes, smash the like, subscribe, and share this stream out with friends. Also, drop those 100 emojis in the chat. Before we jump into today's stream, as always, we're going to say a thank you to 3 amazing sponsors of the Miss Teen Crypto Show. First, Wax Blockchain, absolutely killing the game. They had an amazing Twitter Spaces yesterday, the Wax community Twitter Spaces. Definitely follow them on Twitter to keep up with them. If you're looking to trade to earn some awesome Wax NFTs, check out niftyblocks.com. And last, we have Ballet. Ballet is killing the game. If you are looking for a cool wallet to get into crypto, then this is it. Also, I'm giving one of these away, so if you want to tune in on YouTube and enter a key phrase that our guest today that we'll give out during the show, enter that in the chat, and then if you win, DM me on Twitter with your email, and I'll set you up. I will also drop some NFTs throughout the show. If you want another NFT, we're going to have to double these likes, my friend, so hit that like button. Now, let's jump in to today's guest, the one and only Zuby. How are you, my friend?
I am blessed and highly favored as always. How are you doing?
I am doing great. I'm so happy to be talking with you today. You're just really a legend, and you've done a lot. I'm really a fan of like how you speak. You're so articulate, and I watch you on all of your media appearances and everything you've been doing. You're just a multifaceted individual, and I'm really eager to learn more about you and about your life and how you got to this point. I guess we could start off in college. Like, what were you up to in college? What was your aspirations in life? What did you imagine your career being?
Wow. Well, thank you for that introduction. That's very kind of you. It's nice to hear that. Wow. Starting in college. Okay. Well, my story definitely starts. There's a lot that happened before that, but I studied computer science at Oxford University, which is a place that a lot of people know around the world. I went to university when I was 18 and graduated when I was 20. I did a 3-year computer science course, actually started my music career when I was there as well. So in my first year of university, I started rapping and playing gigs and stuff like that. And then in my second year of university, I released my very first album, which was called Commercial Underground. It was a totally independent release. I started out just by making 50 CDs and selling them to friends and people in my university and stuff like that. And then after all those sold out in a week, I went back and made 100, sold all those, and ended up actually over the course of time selling 3,000 copies hand to hand of my first album. So that was my first entrepreneurial move. And it was also the spark that really started my music career. And so that was really how my music started. And then over the course of time, I don't know how long you want me to continue on the story, because there's a 15-year or so gap between then and now, and a lot of stuff has happened in those 15 years. But after I graduated, I took a year out, did my music full-time for 1 year, and I released a second album, which was called The Unknown Celebrity. And then we're going back to 2008. 2008, I moved to London, worked in the corporate world as a management consultant for 3 years. 2011, I left my job and became a full-time musician, and spent the next 8 years touring all around the UK, doing live performances, selling my CDs all over the place, promoting my merchandise. I used to actually run pop-up shops in different shopping malls around the UK. So I'd go there and sell my CDs, my t-shirts, my hats, my hoodies. I even used to have my own line of wireless headphones as well. So I used to promote and sell those. And that goes all the way up until early 2019. And then in early 2019, to give you some idea of the level of growth, it took me 10 years to get to around 50,000 followers across my social media. So early 2019, I had 18,000 followers on Twitter. I think about 10,000 on Facebook, about 4,000 or 5,000 on Instagram, something like that. And I think around 3,000, 4,000 YouTube subscribers. That's beginning of 2019. Insane. And as of now, across those platforms, the number's now over 1.5 million. So just in the last 3 years, things have really grown, and I've added additional things to what I do. So I've had lots of viral posts, but people now know me for like my social, cultural, political commentary. Wrote and released my first book called Strong Advice, a fitness book. Started my own podcast in that same year. So 2019 was a very transitional year. By the end of it, I was invited to go on to Joe Rogan, got invited to the White House a couple of times, in the Pentagon, appeared on a lot of giant podcasts. And yeah, that's when the world really started to discover me more. And here we are now.
Okay, so that was a lot to unpack, because that you've just gone in like a ton of different directions here. When you were selling your albums, and like, what inspired you to create music, and what, like, hip hop you were rapping, like what were you rapping about? What first inspired you to make your first song? Like, what was that spark for you?
Sure. My very first song was actually, I was bored. I was traveling. I was traveling from the UK to Nigeria, which is where my family background is originally from. Nice. And I had a layover in an airport in Paris, and I was by myself. My flight got delayed by a day. So I was basically just like stuck in the airport for a day. I didn't have much with me. I just had my little MP3 player. I had a notepad, and I just started writing lyrics down. I don't know what possessed me to try to write a rap song, but I just started doing it. And then over the next few weeks, when I was out there in Nigeria, I just kept writing. And I was showing my tracks to my brothers, to my sisters, to my cousins who were around, just, kind of showing them what I did. I was recording acapellas into my phone, and they were like, "Oh, cool. Zuby can rap. That's interesting." And then when I got back to university, one of my friends had a very basic recording studio in his dorm room. So I would download beats off of the internet. And the first song I ever made was called The Bad Man. It's funny because my friends from university still call me the Bad Man to this day. So it's a nickname that kind of stuck with me. But I made this song, and then I made another track called Oh No, and another one called Tonight. So I kind of made these first 3 songs, and I was just showing them to people I knew, my friends, my family, people in university and stuff. And I got a lot of positive feedback and encouragement. And then fast forward about a year, and I had enough tracks to put an album together. So I put it together. One of my friends literally took the photo. If you look on my very first album, that photo was just taken by one of my friends in my college dorm room. I got a graphic designer to make it all look cool and look a bit more professional. I Googled online, how do I get some CDs manufactured? I got the first run made. So I did it all DIY from the very beginning. And anyone who knows about my career, to this day, I'm still DIY. A lot of people think I've got some sort of big team or something. I've got something behind me. It's like, no, it's just me and my laptop and my smartphone. And a team is going to start coming together over the course of this next year, because for me to keep, I've done 16.
You're so busy, man.
Yeah, I've done 16 years completely solo dolo. So I'm going to be needing some assistance with various stuff. But that's actually how it started. And then on a deeper level, to answer your question, it was obviously a creative outlet, but my big goal from early has been wanting to use my voice to positively inspire and motivate other people.
Yes.
So that was really why I wanted to be a rapper. I wanted to be an artist and just use my music as a vehicle for motivation and inspiration, especially in the world of hip hop, where stuff can be very negative. It can get very negative, aggressive, pretty degenerate in some cases. And I wanted to offer something different to the world. So that is still what I do. And I still do that through my music. And I now do it in other ways as well, such as books, public speaking, doing podcasts such as this. And so that's ultimately my message. It's always about trying to raise people up, trying to get people to think more, trying to bring people together, get people to improve themselves mentally, physically, spiritually, all of that. That's what I'm about.
And I really think that's great because there's not a lot of people that have that kind of mindset that you have. One, the grind you went on was insane. 16 years solo. You were literally like Bitcoining it out. You went crypto style before crypto was a thing, going peer-to-peer selling your albums. That's the most crypto thing ever. But it was just in your veins, Zuby. But I know you're very much about self-awareness, fitness. What do you think that people should be thinking about that they're not? Because, a lot of people, we're just very easily distracted. There's so much going on in this world. What should we be really thinking about right now?
That's a great question. I'm a big fan of promoting the empowerment and improvement of individuals.
Yes.
I think we live in this time, especially now, we live in this age of slacktivism and hashtag activism and slogans and saying the right thing and putting the right thing in your bio and whatever. And so many people are trying to change the world and change everybody else and control everybody else all the time, right? They want you to do this, say this, think this. And oftentimes the people who most get into that, they don't have their own life in order, right? They want to control everyone else and make these demands of everyone else and want to change the entire system, the entire society, the entire institution, the entire country. And it's like, you don't even have your own life in order. So
Yeah.
you see what I mean, right? So why don't you put that focus on yourself? Why don't you offer something of value to the world and get yourself in order? And then number one, you'll be able to have more impact on people, both directly and indirectly in a positive way. But also if you do that, and if you encourage other people to do that, then you're genuinely making the world a better place. And the truth is, we can only control ourselves. And even that is pretty difficult, right? Controlling yourself and self-mastery is a lifetime journey. It's not easy to do. It's not easy to keep yourself in good physical shape, especially in this day and age, right?
Yep.
It's not easy to keep your mind and your spirit and your very soul safe from all these outside negative influences. And right now on social media, you've got haters coming at you. You've got people leaving nasty comments. You've got people trying to pull you down and this, right? You're someone who's trying to offer something of value to this world, right? When you ask me, hey, do you want to come do this podcast? I'm like, you know what? Sure, let's do it, because I see what you're doing and I respect that. I'm like, awesome. This is a young lady who is she's creating something. She's not here trying to tear everybody else down. She's trying to build something that entertains and educates other people. And the more you build that up, the more people you can help, the more people you can positively influence and so on. And that's how you change the world, right? It's not just by running around screaming at everybody else and trying to control everybody else. It's actually looking inward and building that up.
Yes.
And then you can go out there and you can help other people, and it ripples outwards. The more I help myself and the better position I put myself in, the better I get at articulating my ideas, the better I get at performing my music and giving public speeches and doing all the different things that I do, the better writer I become, the more people I can help in different ways. So that's what I encourage people to do. And then if I can inspire someone else, then they can build themselves up and they can go on and inspire other people. And that's how I look at the world. I think both positive and negative energy, it very much ripples out. If you go out there and you just spread negativity and you hate on people and you try to pull people down and you're constantly attacking, insulting people, it's bad for you. It's bad for you, but it also ripples outwards, because human beings we are very, what's the word I'm looking for? Reciprocal, right?
Yeah.
If someone comes at you with negative energy or with hatred, the natural response is to push back with that same thing. If someone comes to you kindly, online or offline, whatever it is, the natural response is to come back with positive energy. So I think we all need to be cautious and aware, especially in these times with things being increasingly polarized. I think people need to just be a little bit more aware of what they're putting out there, because it's going to come back.
Absolutely. And I think we really do need to focus on this self-awareness, because there's so many people that really get caught up in everything that's going on, because every day you turn on the news, it's one thing, there's another thing going on. How do you feel that, like, you balance all of this? Because I mean, you're in the midst of, going on Fox Business, speaking about a lot of political views. How do you just filter things out? Because sometimes, like, the noise just gets so loud and you get consumed in it.
It's something I'm always working out and working on. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
same
say that
here.
I have the perfect answer. And with these new tools and technology, it's all very new. We forget. I mean, the combination of smartphones and social media, it's only 15 years old. We haven't been here for that long. There's not a guidebook explaining how do you stay sane with all of this. I mean, we are both connected to more people than probably, any of our ancestors ever were. All of our ancestors combined, you've probably got more reach and access to people than all of your ancestors combined.
Yeah.
And that's pretty crazy. It's very powerful. But if you're not careful, it can also be very negative for yourself and others. So I think daily, or even multiple times a day, you kind of have to take stock and count your blessings, think about the things to be positive for, and be quite intentional about what you're consuming. Because if every time you log into Twitter, or every time you log into Instagram, or every time you log into Facebook or YouTube, if all you're seeing is a flood of negativity and a flood of stuff that's making you feel angry or outraged or sad or so on, you're somewhat in control of that, right? You control who you follow. So if your Twitter experience is very toxic, maybe it's because that's what you're following and that's what you're engaging and you're interacting with. Now, I don't think you need to go completely to the opposite and put yourself in this sort of protective bubble completely, where you are completely clueless about everything going on in the world and you only want to interact and see things that are completely positive and affirming, because I think that can create its own problem where
Exactly.
people no longer understand reality. But there's a healthy balance. I mean, if you look at it like a diet, right? I think when people hear the word diet, they always just think of food and drink that you're consuming. But your diet could be considered everything that you're consuming, right? The things you're seeing with your eyes, the things you're hearing with your ears, the books you're reading, the people you're following and interacting with, all of that is your diet. It all affects your health. It all affects your well-being. So don't have, just like I wouldn't encourage someone to have a complete junk food diet in terms of what they're eating. I wouldn't recommend a junk food diet on social media either, or even on traditional media, where you're just filling your brain and your consciousness all day long with stuff that makes you feel bad, stuff that makes you feel angry, stuff that makes you feel depressed, stuff that makes you feel anxious and fearful all the time. So I think if people view it that way and control their diet, then that certainly helps. And another big one is also understand it's okay to step away, right? You don't have to be online all the time. You don't have to be, if you go out one day, like, you know what, like this is just putting me in a bad mood. It's okay to close the app and put your phone down and go for a walk, go to the gym, go hang out with your friends, go chill with your family or your kids, whatever it is, play with your dog. You don't have to be connected all the time. I think you can feel that you have to be, but you don't. You can take a couple of days off. You're not going to miss anything all that drastic, and you can come in and use it as and when you need to.
I think that's a great piece of advice, because a lot of people FOMO, especially in crypto. It's like if you miss a day or two, you feel like you're a little behind, but it's okay to take a break. Like, you need that diet. And I know you're very into fitness as well, which I love seeing your tweets about fitness. You're going to get Jacksonated and whatnot. So when did you get into fitness, and what do you feel that, like, being into fitness, how do you think that's impacted you?
I think getting into fitness, and I think starting to go to the gym in my teens was one of the smartest decisions I've ever made in my life. So I started training when I was 15. So
Oh, that's early.
I was a bit of a fat kid. Here's a funny one. Here's an interesting fact for you.
Okay.
I weighed more 20 years ago than I weigh now.
No way. Oh my gosh, Zoom.
Yeah, yeah. So, and what's crazy is by today's standards, I wasn't really that fat a child. So, but yeah, I wasn't in great shape in my sort of the age from I don't know 10 to 15, that sort of age range, the puberty age. I got a little heavy, and I started going to the gym. I mean, I was living in Saudi Arabia primarily at the time, and I was in boarding school in the UK. And myself and some of my friends at school, I started training primarily because I used to play rugby.
Ah,
So
that's a
yeah,
contact sport.
yeah, I started playing rugby when I was 11 years old, and I initially wanted to get it just in better shape for rugby so that I could, be the one inflicting the damage rather than being
Taking the
receiving
damage.
Yeah, exactly. And just be in shape to run around all the time. So that initially got me into the gym. And then myself and my friends, we quickly fell into just like this love of bodybuilding. We just got passionate about it and just started lifting a ton, eating way too much food. I think back to how much I was eating when I was 15, 16, and it's a bit disturbing. But I got strong. I mean, by the time I was like 17 or 18, I was pretty jacked.
Damn.
And I just maintained that. So for me, going to the gym and exercising, that's just very much a part of my life. It's a habit. I can't not do it. I mean, when there was the really long lockdown in the UK last year and they shut down all the gyms and stuff, that's actually the longest I've been in the past 20 years without training.
Wow.
Let me be more specific. Without going to the gym, I was still training.
Yeah.
But it's the longest. I think it was what, 5 months or something. 5 months without the gym.
That's a long time.
It was a long time. Yeah, I've never gone that long before. But it's such an important keystone habit because, man, there's so many aspects of it. I could get really deep on gym philosophy here. But one thing I love about the gym beyond, especially when it comes to lifting weights, a lot of people think of it just from the superficial aspect of like, oh, having a six pack or having big biceps or a strong looking chest or whatever and impressing chicks at the beach. Yeah. So many people think of it like that, but there are so many benefits in so many ways. First of all, there's all the other health benefits. I mean, reduced risk of osteoporosis, reduced risk of certain types of cancers, reduced risk of diabetes and heart problems and so on. And then there's also the direct mental benefits because you're training your entire nervous system. And despite the funny stereotype of, people with guys with big muscles, having like deficient brains or something like that, it's actually the opposite, right? It makes your brain function even better.
Yeah.
And then even beyond that, on a philosophical level, it's impossible to improve your body naturally to a significant degree without also improving your mind. If you meet someone who's lost 100 pounds, they're not the same person as they were when they were 100 pounds heavier. No. If you meet someone who was very, very skinny and then they put on a good amount of muscle, you can't do that. You can't lose a significant amount of weight or significantly change your body for the better without having a mindset shift. And
Absolutely.
if you can apply the same things that it takes to be successful in the gym or in your muscle building journey or in your fat loss journey, if you can apply that to other things, whether it's a podcast, building a YouTube channel, starting a business, a relationship, whatever it is, it's the same things that'll make you successful. Having discipline, being consistent, persevering, showing up day in, day out, even if you don't really feel like it, not making excuses, taking personal responsibility, all of those things, you can just apply that anywhere. So the things that I learn in the gym and that I've learned in the gym, I've been able to take that and apply it to my music career. I've been able to take that and apply it to all of the different things that I do. And I know I'll get it done. Okay, I'm going to write a book. Okay, I need to be disciplined. I need to be consistent. There's some days I'm not really going to want to write, but I should do it anyway. I have to occasionally take breaks. I have to not let other people distract me. I have to just keep on doing it. And that level of perseverance and that grit, if you can learn how to do that, then you become quite an unstoppable force because you can apply it to whatever it is in the world and you will succeed in that thing over time.
Whoa, it's like if you're physically strong, you're mentally strong as well. And I really haven't thought about it to this extent, just the correlation, because even, I used to do cheerleading, I used to be in softball, and I used to like feel so good after working out. And then like, the lockdowns happened, and then I started slacking off as a lot of us did. And, I don't know. I feel like I need to hit the gym. I feel like I need to
Do it.
go to Planet Fitness after this. I'm done. I got a pimp.
Do it. Get Jacksonated.
Get Jacksonated. I'm going to get Jacksonated right now. I feel like, a lot of people do need physical fitness now that I'm thinking about it, because there is, especially amongst the youth, I feel a big mental health issue.
Yes.
And I think a lot of us, especially in Gen Z, we're all in like this cloud, I guess, especially with social media not always targeting the best things towards us. I feel that if we did work out and we had this discipline, because even in school, I don't remember ever really working out. Like gym class was running a lap around the gym and that was it. So we really never learned to work out and feel that like good rush of just like feeling good after doing something. I feel like maybe if we had that discipline, maybe our mental health state wouldn't be as bad.
Yeah, it would be very different. And your energy has to go somewhere.
Exactly.
Right? So
I feel
when
like people
I see,
are so angry.
Yeah, these things are correlated. And nobody ever draws these lines because we live in this age where people consider physical health and mental health as two completely separate categories, right? Even those terms, right? So when people talk about mental health, they'll always be talking about therapy and potential pharmaceutical products and this and that. And it's like, how are you not drawing the link between people's physical lifestyles, dietary habits, sleep habits, hydration habits, other lifestyle factors, substance use and so on? Like these things are connected. Sometimes there'll be someone who's, saying, oh, I feel anxious or I feel, and you look at their lifestyle and I'm like, of course you do, bro. Right?
Yeah,
You're
like, you
supposed
don't
to
go out.
look at your lifestyle, right? You don't do anything. You're just sitting there consuming through screens stuff that makes you feel angry and worried and fearful and so on. And you don't have any positive outlet for that. And then beyond that, you're probably not drinking enough water. You're probably not getting enough sleep. Maybe you're hanging out with bad people and so on. And it's like, yeah, well, of course you're not going to feel good. Your body is signaling to you that something is wrong. And I think this is even more important in this modern age because so many people, so many people just have very sedentary lifestyles. It's not like the average person is now working on a farm or going out hunting constantly or whatever, right? It's like, oh, I'm exercising. I'm going to go to the supermarket. So it's even more important that we go out there intentionally and exercise and train because it creates endorphins, but it also gets out. It's a positive outlet to get out that energy, which otherwise just builds up inside people. It just builds up and it builds up and it builds up. And I think that's even where a lot of the online lashing out and hate comes from.
Yes.
Right. So when someone, comes at me, whatever, like sometimes I'm like, bro, you need to go to the gym. And I'm not even being facetious when I say that. I'm saying like, I think that if this person had exercised and had a healthy lifestyle, your head wouldn't be in the place where you feel the urge to just go and lash out at random people online to get out your energy. Your energy is going to come out some way. And there's positive ways it can come out and there's negative ways it can come out. So when I see that type of behavior, I'm like, wow, this is someone who's just putting out that energy in a negative way, in a destructive way. Because we're often, I think men especially, but everybody, I've said before that I believe men are always either creating or destroying.
I've seen you say that.
Right? If you look at history, men are always creating or destroying. So if you're not building up your own thing, your own project, your own body, your own family, your own relationships, your own community, you're probably tearing down somebody else's, right? Sometimes very literally, sometimes more metaphorically. And so I think it's important for people to recognize that and make sure that they have some healthy outlets.
Absolutely. I think we all need to work out. We need to touch some grass and like run around or do something, run a lap because we're all very stressed out. I mean, especially like I feel like, I feel like this is low key about me too because I'm sitting here. I have a sedentary lifestyle. I'm, working all day at the computer and I do need to get out more and just get jacksinated. Like this is an issue.
Even 30 minutes, 30 minutes,
Right?
40 minutes, an hour. I think so many people think that you have to spend 3 hours a day in a gym or
Yeah.
work out
Yeah.
10 times a week it's like, no, especially if someone is like, say someone is starting completely from scratch, honestly, 20 minutes a day to start with make a considerable difference. And you don't even need to go super hard. Say you've got someone who's like really, really overweight or something, literally going for a 20-minute, 30-minute walk every day and cutting back on what they're eating, just that little tweak, if they're consistent with it and they do that every day, if it's 30 minutes a day, then that's, 3.5, 4 hours a week
Yeah, it adds
of
up.
exercise, right? That adds up. You do that over the course of a month, over the course of a year, and you're going from zero to something very significant. So one thing I recommend to people is not to see it as like an on and off switch. Don't be like on your diet and off your diet, or just like I'm on this on a program or I'm not. It can be like a dial. You don't need to go 100% all the time, and then also don't go to zero. I travel a lot. I'm always on the road. I'm always traveling, and sometimes I can't do 100%, but I'll always make sure it's not a zero.
Yeah.
Right. Even if I just go in the gym, you know what? Oh boy, okay, I've only got 30 minutes. I need to be in and out of the gym in 30 minutes. I'll just go in and, I would have preferred to have an hour, but 30 minutes is infinitely better than nothing. And you can still get you can still probably get 80% of the benefits in a 30-minute workout as you'd get from an hour workout. You might miss out on that 20%, but you're going to get the majority still.
Yeah, and just feel good. I like don't pump and dump yourself. You know what I mean?
Yes. Great way to put it. I love that.
Don't pump and dump yourself. I feel like that's the next tweet from Zuby's account. Don't pump and dump yourself. Don't go to zero.
I'll let you have that.
don't go to zero. But yeah, I think it's very serious, and I think we all really need to take care of ourselves. I think that's like priority. Speaking of taking care of people, let's take care of somebody by helping them be their own bank. Do you mind giving us a key word or phrase for our friends in the chat to enter in order to win a ballet wallet?
Yeah, sure. I've got a book coming out called The Candy Calamity. So let's use the code. Let's use Candy. Do
Candy. Yay. So friends in the chat, please enter Candy in order to enter for a free ballet wallet. It's going to be so amazing. But yes, please enter Candy and I'll pick a winner in a second. If you win, please DM me on Twitter. But yeah, so do you mind talking about your new book actually while we're speaking about Candy Calamity?
Yeah, sure. So it's coming out on the 1st of July. So it's my first ever children's book. In 2019, I wrote a book for grownups called Strong Advice, Zuby's Guide to Fitness for Everybody, which has helped thousands of people around the world to improve their physiques.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I wanted to write something for the younger generation. So if anyone's seen the video, that's the cover of it right there. So it's a collaboration with a company called Brave Books. It's a story about a group of animal friends who were in the desert. And I don't want to give away the whole story, but some pirates come and raid and attack their friend's town. And they try to chase them away and whatever, but they're just too out of shape. And so they go back and they train and they learn about health and nutrition and exercise. And then the next time the pirates come and try to raid the place, then they deal with them. So it's really about the importance of taking care of your body, the importance of self-control, discipline, moderation. But it's really fun. The whole book rhymes. I'm a rapper. I had to make sure that the entire book was rhyming. The illustrations are amazing as well. It's got really, really incredible illustrations. It's got a positive message. And it's fun. It's fun. Yeah. I'd recommend, a few people have asked sort of what ages it's for. I'd say 4 to 10. I think in that age range, people will, that's probably kind of the main age range for it. And it's also got activities. So if you're a parent and you've got kids, then it's also got some physical challenges and activities and exercises you can do at the back of the book as well. So
That's great.
yeah, I don't think there's that many. I don't think there's that many children's books that really talk about health and fitness.
Not
And
at all. I don't
taking
remember
care of
one.
yourself. Yeah, right. So I felt like that was a gap, and so I wanted to cover it. So I'm now officially a children's book author, so I can add that to my non-existent resume.
Congratulations. That's so awesome.
Thank you.
I mean,
Oh, and of course, candycalamity.com is where people can get it.
yes,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put the link again in the live chat. I'm gonna edit the video after this and add it to the description. But guys, please check out this book. It is absolutely amazeballs, especially if Zuby is behind it. Like, come on, man. Like, you guys know this guy is wise. But yeah, I think it's extremely important that you're reaching the children now. Do you think you'll ever write something about Bitcoin and crypto while you're just like on this children's book journey? Or do you think you're
Wow.
gonna stick to this subject?
I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't discount. I don't discount anything. I had no. If you asked me this time last year, I had no plans to write a children's book, but the opportunity presented itself, and I said, you know what? Yeah, let's do it.
As you should.
So, yeah. So a book on or more content around Bitcoin. That's possible. I don't know yet. I don't currently have plans to write a book on it, but maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's like people who are saying, "Oh, are you gonna run for office one day or get into politics?" I'm like, well, not now.
Zuby for
But-
prez.
Yeah, I'm from the wrong country though, so I'm not eligible for that one. But
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe something. But
You never know.
we'll see. I'm still, Lord willing, I still have much more of my life left to live. So we'll see where it all goes. Yeah.
Exactly, because you're healthy, so you're taking
Yeah.
care of
Yeah.
yourself. You're gonna make sure you make it. But I really love that you're reaching to the children. You're reaching the youth. I hope I could venture into writing children's books one day. And especially like it's just so important to do what you're doing and actually talk about health. I'm telling you right now, I don't remember any book from when I was little that talked about anything other than like candy and the tooth fairy and just, I don't know, a caterpillar that was rainbow. The Hungry Caterpillar, I think it was called. Was that the children's book? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
that sounds familiar.
I don't know. I'm going off the rails here. Let's talk about Bitcoin because I know like you're an extreme advocate for freedom. It's a big part of what you speak about, and I'm with you, my friend. Freedom for all. We should all be our own bank. How did you find Bitcoin?
Good question. Wow. I want to say I first heard about Bitcoin probably in 2012 or 2013.
What?
Yeah, I heard
That's
about
so
it early.
early.
You have to remember I studied computer science. So I'm
Oh.
from a much more technical mathematical background than people think, right? People see what
Yeah.
I do now and they're like, oh, he's a rapper and he does this and that. And it's like, yeah, I'm a computer science
You're a
grad.
multifaceted human being.
Yeah, there's people who I graduated with who are, now, doing all this stuff in Silicon Valley or whatever. And some of them were in my class. So I heard about it. I heard about it relatively early, but I hadn't looked into it. I thought it was the first time I heard Bitcoin. I thought it was either like an in-game, like a video game currency or like
Yeah.
some sort of PayPal kind of thing. I just didn't look at it. I just didn't look into it. I just heard Bitcoin. And this is far before it had any real sort of mainstream attention. When I really started paying attention to it was in 2017. So in 2017, I think I had a couple friends, a couple people I was following on Facebook in particular who were talking about Bitcoin and then some other cryptocurrencies as well. And to be honest, some of them were like traders who were talking about the gains they were making and these trades they were doing.
Yep.
And I saw Bitcoin. I was like, I keep Bitcoin. And 2017 was also a big part of the that was a bull cycle going on.
100%.
Yeah. So going into the summer and then the fall and then the winter, there was this thing and the number was just going up and up. So I really did my research. I really started doing proper research in October 2017.
Still early.
So just before it had its like super crazy run up.
Yep.
And I read a couple books. I read Andreas Antonopoulos's books, The Internet of Money, 1 and 2. I think I read a book called Crypto Assets. I read a couple books. I started, just YouTubing and doing some research, like what is Bitcoin, what's the value proposition, and so on. And actually, once I understood it, once it clicked that, okay, this is a decentralized currency that's not owned or run by any central bank, and its supply is limited, making it deflationary rather than inflationary. And it can be transacted across borders without having to go through all these middlemen and so on and so forth. And it's unconfiscatable, and the ledger is immutable, and it's extremely hard, if not impossible to have. I was like, ooh, I was sold on it quite quickly, especially as someone who's more libertarian minded and is pro freedom. And let me not say for a long time, but from at least 2015, 2016, the whole sort of central banking system, fiat money system, I've been like, man, this whole thing's kind of a scam, really. When once you learn about it and you think about it and you see how much, I mean, people are talking now. Inflation's a big topic right now, but inflation is something that's blown my mind for a long time. I mean, I'll tell you something funny. So my dad's a medical doctor.
Oh, wow.
And when he first came to the UK, his annual salary was £4,000 a year. That's about $6,000 per year.
That's
This is in the 70s. This is not 100 years ago. That was an above average salary. This is how much inflation has gone, right? You have to remember, in the 70s, you could you could rent an apartment in Manhattan for what? I don't know, $100, like $200 a month or something like that.
What has happened to us?
Yeah, I mean, you used to be able to buy a house for $7,000, $8,000 in the 70s, right? So,
that's crazy.
Right, we're looking at, yeah, that's the thing. So you have to remember, I mean, 20 years from now, at the current rate, I mean, $1 million is not even going to be an impressive amount of, like, everyone's going to earn six figures.
Yeah.
Right. Like $100,000 will be like, oh my gosh, you only earn $100,000. Poor you. Right. Because that's that's how bad the inflation is. I mean, It just keeps going and going. And this is even and this is in developed countries. We're talking the UK and the USA. If you look at some other countries, they've got inflation, running up well over 100%. I remember when I was in school, and one of my friends from Zimbabwe was coming to school, and he had, $100 billion notes in his wallet, right? Because I don't know if you know about the hyperinflation in Zimbabwe.
It's really bad, right?
Well, they don't even have a currency anymore. I mean, they haven't had a currency for 20 years.
Wow.
Because it got inflated so hard.
I didn't know that.
I think at the peak, their inflation, I can't even tell you the number. It reached like, sextillion or something percent, right? Every minute prices were double, like every minute. And so, yeah, when you start seeing how that is even possible, I was like, okay. And of course, there was the 2008 financial crash, which people lost huge amounts of money in. And there was all of that. So once I heard about Bitcoin, I sort of understood it. I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And also just the simple notion of there being something digital that is limited in supply.
Yep.
Right. That's brand new. That's the thing that set the tone for, NFTs and all of this stuff that's come later down the line. But prior to Bitcoin, the idea of something being digital but limited, like that was an oxymoron. It was like, well, if something's digital, you can just copy it.
Exactly.
And send it, right? If I send you an MP3 or a photo, or like, I don't.
Yeah, I could just right click download.
Exactly. So once that all clicked, I was like, this makes sense. So if this becomes very popular and has more mainstream adoption, then this is obviously something that's going to be a very lucrative asset from an investment perspective. But also, this is another potential world-changing invention. So I'm 35 years old. So I saw the adoption curve of the internet. I saw the adoption curve of mobile phones. I saw the adoption curve of smartphones. I saw the adoption curve of Facebook and Amazon and all of. I remember when Amazon was a joke.
Yeah, people laughed at Amazon.
No one's ever going to buy books. Like I remember that. So the way people talk about Bitcoin now is exactly how people used to talk about the internet and how people used to talk about mobile phones and how people used to talk. So I'm like, okay, I'm cottoning on here. This thing does serve a purpose. Is in terms of as a money and as an asset, this has certain properties which make it unique and valuable. So to me, given what this can be used for, I think this is a matter of time. So yeah, most people still, even though it's 2022, most people don't get it and are not sold on it. And a lot of people are still attacking it or making fun of whatever. But I'm like, I've heard all this before. Exactly. I've heard all this before. So even when it's a time period like right now where it, it's lost 70% of its dollar value or so over the past, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 months.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, the fundamentals haven't changed.
Thank you.
Since that time in 2017 and before that, since that time I discovered it, those fundamentals haven't changed. The value proposition hasn't changed. So yes, I saw it go from 6,000 to 20,000, down to 3,000, back up to 69,000, back down to 20,000. Like I've seen all that just in the past 5 years. And I'm like, this thing's not going anywhere. Right. So for all the people who are right now, oh, Bitcoin is dead. Bitcoin's dead. It's like, bro, it's 20,000. Like I remember when it hit 20,000 the first time and people were euphoric. Yeah. People were mind blown. People were euphoric. And so I'm like, man, I'm in this for the long haul. I'm not a short-term trader. I'm here. I have my convictions. As long as those fundamentals stay the same, then I think Bitcoin's going to do what it's going to do.
Yeah, you're a futurist. You're a futurist. You remind me of a lot of venture capitalists I've met, where you see something and you just feel it in your bones. You're like, okay, I've seen this before. Especially, you can't listen to the FUD, which is sometimes what I was talking about before. There's a lot of FUD, no matter what it is in the world. It distracts you, and you have to kind of see through that and make your own decisions and be like, the whole premise of crypto is to make your decisions and to truly own what you have, own your assets. And especially, you being in the music business, I feel like you have seen a lot of, how artists are kind of taken advantage of and a bunch of different ways, which kind of connects to NFTs as well. And, just really owning your property. Do you feel like, if you had the option to, put your work out as NFTs, would you have skipped the record labels? Or how do you feel that, crypto is really changing the way like people transact and things like that overall? I'm just really like eager to know. Yeah,
well, I skipped the record labels anyway. I've put out 9 projects without ever using a record label outside of my own. So so I've been doing stuff independently since before it was cool. In terms of NFTs, I myself have not put out any NFTs yet. It's a space I've been watching and considering. I don't like to do things unless I'm going to do them well and do them with a reason and a purpose behind it. So last year I saw, this NFT thing is getting hot, and everyone was talking about it and whatever, and people were paying crazy money for JPEGs and so on and so forth. And I was like, I don't want to jump in it just because it's kind of popping and popular right now, right? I want to, if I'm going to do some kind of music project or some kind of creative project, and I'll integrate NFTs into it, then I want to do it properly. And I don't want to just do an NFT because NFTs are hot. I want to do it because there's some specific reason or purpose or thinking behind it. I have kind of done, actually, I say all this, I have sort of done what I guess could be considered an NFT project with, I did a limited edition merchandise drop called Take the Power Back with a company called the Bitcoin Movement. And so we did a limited number of t-shirts, hoodies, and caps, which had a
mint number?
Yeah, they had a mint number, which you could verify using an app. So it was registered on a blockchain, and you could scan the code on your hat or on your hoodie or on your t-shirt, and it would tell you, you have t-shirt number 33 of 100 and so on. So I have done a sort of real world NFT integration. I don't think when we put it out, we didn't explicitly call it that, but
it was,
for all intents and purposes, that is an NFT applied to clothing.
That's really cool. Yeah, because I think, a lot of people flock to crypto and NFTs just because the middleman is a lot and they take a lot from you. I mean, especially, I know streaming on Spotify is hard because people could get thousands of streams and just get pennies for it. Meanwhile, like, NFTs, you are directly supported. So, artists always get the royalties no matter how many times their song sells or their piece of art sells. But just a question, I just feel that, Bitcoin, it impacts so many people. And, just being your own bank is how do you approach that subject when you're talking to people about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, especially the mainstream media where a lot of them are just learning about this space. How do you approach this idea of being your own bank?
Yeah, sure. I think it's different for different people. And I think, funnily enough, one of the challenges in the modern Western world and in so-called more developed countries is that people haven't seen. I think here it's like the money system is sort of this death by a thousand cuts type of thing, right? Inflation might be 3%, 5%, 10%. It's perceptible, but on an annual level, you're not really noticing something that cost $100. Ooh, it cost 100 last year. Now it's 110. Now it's 118. Now it's 127. Now it's like that creeps up on people very, very slowly.
Yep.
And also here, thankfully, the banks are pretty reliable. The banks are reliable. Most things are quite reliable. So it can be, funnily enough, harder to sell people on some of these concepts than it is in countries where they've seen their currency get
Crushed.
decimated, right?
Crushed.
So like I said, Zimbabwe, or if you live in Turkey, I mean, I went to Turkey last year, and this year Turkey's had about 70% inflation over the past year. 70%. So imagine every $100 you have saved this time next year is worth 30.
Exactly. Oh, that's horrifying.
Right? Imagine you've got a family, you've been working for decades, you've been stashing away money, and in 1 year your savings are slashed 70%. Not because you've done something wrong, but just because inflation, right? Just because of bad policies.
And that's not right.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I don't know if you've ever been to Turkey, but if you go to Turkey, you'll see a lot of places you can buy Bitcoin. You'll see places you can spend Bitcoin. You see crypto places, like you can walk around Istanbul or other cities and there's like crypto places, which
that's amazing.
I'm like, oh, I don't see that in the USA. I don't see that in the UK. So it's interesting. My family background's from Nigeria. Nigeria is one of the countries that's most interested in Bitcoin. Why? Because the currency is constantly being devalued. And 1 naira, which is the currency there, used to be equal to 1 pound. Right? When my parents were growing up, 1 naira was 1 pound. Same thing, 1 to 1. Now I think it's about 450 to 1.
Wow.
Right? So 1 pound is now, I think, 450, might be even 500, right? I'm not even sure what the exchange rate is right now, but
that's insane.
It's lost so much of its value. It's lost so much of its purchasing power. So in countries like that, it's actually easier to explain to people why something like Bitcoin is so powerful. Also, a lot of people don't have bank accounts, right? We forget that there's billions of people in the world who don't have a bank account. And so something like Bitcoin and having a wallet and being able to use it, there might be some technology hurdles when it comes to internet access and things like that. But I think that there's some of the resistance here in the West because people look at it and they're like, oh, well,
I have my money in the bank.
Yeah, my money's in the bank. It's fine. Bitcoin's very volatile. It was worth this time. People don't zoom out. They just see
the right now.
They see the right now. They're like, oh, it was worth this now, and it was worth it. It's like, well, look at it on a 5-year level. Look at it on a 10-year level. Look at it on a bigger level, right? Don't just be thinking, oh, even right now, even in the world of Bitcoin, even in the world of crypto, everyone's like, what's the price going to be at the end of 2022?
Exactly.
What's the price going to be in 2032, right? And what's a dollar going to be worth in 2032, right? These are both big questions. So, I get it. I think as human beings, I think it's in our nature to be more short-term oriented.
We like the instant gratification.
We do, right? We do. But if people can zoom out and just see the bigger picture, not just in Bitcoin, but in many other things, if you're able to zoom out, you'll typically see that things are better than they look. When you zoom out, things are generally better and more hopeful and more optimistic, and you can see the bigger picture. And it also enables you to make smarter decisions. Because if you're in the market right now and you're thinking, what should I do? What should I buy? When should I buy it? Whatever. If you think of trying to, if you think on a 5-year level or on a 10-year level or even on a 20-year level, you're going to make much smarter decisions, assuming you're an investor, right? If you're a trader,
Yes.
this is different. I'm not going to give any, but if you're a long-term investor and you believe in what you're investing in and you think it's going to be more and more valuable and more useful later down the line, then it doesn't matter if you bought it now and it drops another 25% before it goes up another 2,500%. Who cares, right? Like that, amazing, right?
Yeah,
don't,
right.
don't worry about that short-term 25% drop. Look at the big picture. So that's the way I try to look at it. Even when thankfully I'm not a hyper emotional person, far from it. But
Yeah. That's because you're
even
Jacksonated.
yeah, it does help. But when my emotions do come into it, then I do that. I zoom out and I look. I'll even literally zoom out, right? I'll look at the graphs, right? Like the charts.
Yeah, you should.
People obsess over the charts. It's like, okay, zoom out on the chart, and you're like, oh, okay.
You're
That's
good.
fine. You just gotta weather the storm, stay the ride, look at this trend, and you'll be okay.
Exactly. It's not a race. And a lot of people, yes, they like the instant gratification. That's why, when the bull market was hot, people were just throwing money into everything. And then people got crushed and there were rugs. And then everyone, it just got a little out of hand. And we'll always see that because, again, we're super early, right? There's going to be just another wave of people. Like this year, 2021, 2022, we had a big wave of people come in. It's not over. Not everybody's in crypto yet. We're still extremely, extremely early. I guess to, close out the show, where do you feel that Bitcoin's going? How do you feel that crypto is going to progress? And just the ideology of being our own bank, especially because, we're in this really weird time right now where maybe we won't have that accessibility to our funds. We're worrying about what the dollar's going to be worth in 10 years. Will we even be able to use dollars in 10 years in general? Will we have accessibility to dollars in 10 years? So what are your thoughts?
That's a good question. My long-term view on most things is typically optimistic. Certainly when it comes to Bitcoin, it's
Me too.
very optimistic. If I wouldn't be, I wouldn't be holding Bitcoin for approaching 5 years if, and having, this is now the second bear market that's being experienced. So I wouldn't be doing that if I didn't believe in the long-term potential of it. If I wasn't optimistic, I would go and sell all my Bitcoin and switch it back to dollars or pounds and go back to a 100% fiat lifestyle. But that's not where I see it going. I think some of it is going to be generational. And again, people have to be patient. People have to understand these things take time. Also, it's hard to get people out of old mindsets in many ways, right? So let's not forget that, our countries are run by people who are in their 60s and 70s and 80s.
Literally.
And so, sure, there are people, my parents get Bitcoin because I've taught them about it over the years, but most people who are in that age demographic, they're not going to get, it's going to be a hard sell to them. And also it's an idea that challenges them. It's also you have to remember it's a threat to a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Right? It's a threat to these central bankers and to these people in certain financial institutions and certain political places. They don't want this. So there's going to be a lot of resistance. There's going to be a lot of FUD, which comes from the top down, right? They don't want people to be buying Bitcoin. They want people to be buying their bonds and to be, just cool with 10% or 20% or 50% inflation. They don't want any of that. So I think some of it is going to be a generational shift where as time goes on and the people who are now in their 30s go on into their 40s and their 50s and their 60s, and the people who are right now are 10 years old, one day they're going to be 30 and they're going to be 40 and so on. And I think that the idea of, just like happened with the internet itself, again, I think the same thing I think Bitcoin is going to do for money and the financial system what the internet did for information. I think that's probably the best way I could put it. So I think I can imagine a future where my little nieces and nephews, when they're my age, they're going to be using it on a daily basis, whether or not they even realize that they are. Right. So just like we use the internet all the time, we don't even think about it. It's just there. You probably can't really imagine what life would be like without it and how you'd even do certain things.
Exactly.
It's just like the fabric of society. I think that's going to happen with Bitcoin and some of this new technology. It's just going to become, over time, talking, decades, it's going to just become totally ubiquitous, mainstream. It's going to be used even if you're not going to need to, just like you don't need to understand the internet to use it. You won't even necessarily need to understand it. It'll just be that mainstream where you can just use it. You can just engage. It's very simple. Right now, it's still a little bit complicated.
Just a little bit.
And I think that also, but I think it's actually become more simple over the last few years as well.
Definitely the last year or two.
Yeah, it's been more simplified. So that'll continue to happen. So on that front, I am overall optimistic.
Me too, Zuby. Absolutely.
Good.
Same. I am so bullish on crypto, and I've been saying the same thing for a while. Like, a lot of people don't know how debit cards work. I don't know how tap and pay works. I walk into the store and I go boop and I'm out. I don't need to know how that works. I just know that I could spend and I could leave and buy my items, and that's it. I could go home. The same thing is going to happen with Bitcoin, NFTs. We're going to use NFTs to get into like Zuby Talks when we're going to see him, and he's going to have like 20,000 security guards because he's going to be like the coolest kid on the block. Like, I already know, it's fine. But if you have the NFT, you'll get in the door. So that's what matters. Thank you guys for coming out. There's so many people in the chat today. So thank you guys for coming and hanging out. I hope you guys collected all the NFTs I've thrown in there. Congratulations to Katarina, who won the ballet wallet today. Zuby, before we head out, do you mind shouting out where we can find you and shout out your book name one more time?
Of course. So you can find me on all social media platforms at Zuby Music. That is ZUBY Music on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, at Zuby Music. And if you go to candycalamity.com, then you can check out my new children's book. So
awesome.
Have a peep.
Awesome, guys. So I just put in the live chat and in the description of the video, we have his Twitter, his YouTube channel, and the link to Candy Calamity. So if you have some children and you want to slip in some fitness and good thoughts in their head, then Candy Calamity is the spot. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you, Zuby, for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy. Always, like being the coolest kid on the block, going to all these places and speaking and just spreading the good word about being positive, being healthy, inspiring people. So thank you for doing what you do. And I'm kind of inspired now, and I think I need to go work out and get fit and have that healthy mindset. I'm really actually determined now, and I actually needed this push, to be honest. I think it's a sign that I spoke to you and we spoke about health, because I've been thinking about that a lot. It's been a topic that's been on the brain lately. But thank you for making this an amazing show. I really just, I think you need to come back soon and just talk more because you're just so cool, and there's just so much that we didn't even touch on today. But thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I appreciate everybody that came in the chat. I know you guys like freaking vibed with this one. If you vibed, please hit the like, subscribe, share this out with friends, and comment after the video is over telling us if you like it. But thank you so much. I appreciate everybody. Have a lovely day. I'll see you next week with more Miss Teen Crypto shows. We have a great guest lined up for next week. I literally can't even wait. Have a great day, everyone. And as always, stay zesty. Oh, wait, actually, I have a show tomorrow. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. I made a mistake. The week is not over. I'm doing a million shows this week. Tomorrow at 4 p.m., another show. Hit the subscribe. Keep those notifications on. Have a great day. And as always, stay zesty, my friends. Peace.
Good morning, crypto Twitter, it's Miss Teen Crypto, spreading crypto with doctors showing its benefits. So to my generation, shout out to all my people, Jesse needs to be included, it's really that simple. We are savage, amazed, boss, zesty, making money at the same time, spread peace. I feel empty if you don't include Gen Z, about to change the world, so y'all better get ready. Miss Teen Crypto, I'm never backing down, I got a wax account, you should say it out. So many NFTs, I think I lost count.